say a special good morning to those of you listening to Classic Radio, those of you also viewing GBN TV. Good morning to you. Welcome. It's the Mid-Morning Buzz. I'm your host, GT. And with me this morning representing, of course, the Grenada Food and Nutrition Council, we have, of course, that's Miss Stephanie Moraine with us this morning. Stephanie, good morning and welcome.
Good morning.
How are you doing this morning?
I'm all right.
All right. Well, it's good to have you on this morning. Our main focus of our conversation this morning, we're talking about, of course, food labels, or labels that were packaging that you will see on foods and so forth. That's going to be our main focus of the conversation this morning. If I could start off by saying, sometimes you go to the supermarkets or the grocery store or whatever, and you see packages and the label. How important it is for individuals to read the label, especially knowing what the content is, what it's made of. Something you're allergic to something and you don't know, but you just see this particular item there and hey, that looks good, and I think I want to have it or whatever. How important is it for individuals to read labels?
Okay, so reading your food labels is a very important practice to make healthy choices.
Yeah.
You will see most of the foods that we consume, we purchase at the supermarket. And so it is important to know what is in the food that you consume. Mm-hmm. And that's what the food label is there for. But most persons, we might look at the price, we might look at the brand, but we don't really look at the nutrition facts at the back per se, or the ingredients that is in that particular food. And the food label will tell you how much salt is in that packet, how much sugar is in there, how much fat is in there. And that is important to control your intake of those nutrients, because we know too much of salt is not good, too much of sugar is not good. And you want to make sure that you're consuming foods that will give you the nutrients that you need, and you're not over-consuming on nutrients that would be detrimental to your health.
All right, great. I mean, because sometimes you go, as I mentioned, you go to the supermarkets and so forth, you see that particular product there, and all you know it is by the brand. You understand? So say you see Maggie, you're just going to pick up a Maggie because you think, well, it's but then you're not knowing the salt level, the other levels, or the other contents of it.
Right.
That may be detrimental to your health. May not possess enough nutrients, the right nutrients that you need. And these days everybody is health focused, or you should be. Not everybody is. You should be health focused a whole lot. There's a lot of folks who don't put that attention into it, but you should be health focused. Knowing the way that the world is today, where folks are putting contents into food and so forth, that is not healthy. And it's all, and so you're saying that, so the Grenada Food and Nutrition now is taking the opportunity now to speak to individual in relation to that.
Yes.
Speak to individual to put take that other 2 minutes or so and read the contents of the labels.
Yes.
And to know what is really in the packaging of that particular food, and not just bearing the name alone. All right. Tell us something more that folks should pay attention to, especially when it comes to labels and their content.
Okay. So when you purchase an item, the first thing you want to look at when you're looking at your labels is the serving size. Yeah. A lot of times we purchase items, for example, a snack or a box of juice, and we consume the entire thing without checking out. You know what?
I'm guilty of that.
I'm having 4 servings of this particular item, but we didn't look.
That should have served for 4 or 5 individuals. Right.
For example, like Cricks. Most times I tell persons, the serving for the Cricks is like about 8 Cricks.
Per person.
Yes. But when they eat their Cricks, they don't look at that on the package label. And they eat probably the entire slot of Cricks.
How is it important it is to pay attention to the serving size?
Okay,
on an individual basis.
Right. So the serving size will tell you how much service in that particular packet. But what the information on the food label, for instance, the sugars on the food label, you might see 5%, and to you that might not look like so much just by glancing. But when you look at the serving size, it says 10 servings, but the label only depicts 1 serving, so that 5% has to be multiplied by 10 in order to get the full amount of sugar that is in that particular item, especially if you're eating the entire thing. Right. So when you think you're having 2% or 5% of something, because that's what's on the label, the serving size would only show one serving in that information. So you now have to pay attention to the serving size so that you would know exactly how much you should be consuming and how much you will be getting when you consume the entire thing. Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm trying to gas this around. So I buy a box of juice, and on the label it may say, well, 5 servings. Right. But in the other description in the labeling, it says 5% sugar, 20% sodium, or whatever there is in whatever I'm purchasing. Now, you're saying that particular information there is only for one serving.
For one serving.
So I am now having that the entire content. I'm taking more than I should be consuming from that particular product.
Yes.
Huh. That's interesting.
So it's important to pay attention to the serving size. Mm-hmm.
All right. No. With that being said, how concerned it is for the Grenada Food and Nutrition Council in terms of creating that awareness for individuals, especially when it comes to content, label contents understanding. Because, you may say this and we may say this, but sometimes a lot of people don't understand.
Yes.
You understand what the content is saying, especially with the percentage levels and all of these things. Folks may take these things for granted, but it's important for you to understand that, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So, we're seeing a rise in a lot of the chronic diseases and so. Yeah. The high blood pressure, the cholesterol, diabetes and so. And when it comes to, for instance, salt, most of the salt that we consume comes from the packaged foods and not necessarily what we put in our pots at home. Yeah. Right? So when you go to the supermarket and you purchase an item, the sodium content on that item speaks a lot to how you're gonna, let's say somebody with high blood pressure, living with high blood pressure, how that item is going to affect your blood pressure. And at the end of the day, it's all about choosing the healthier option. This one has 10% sodium, this one only has 8%. The one with 8% is the better one to use. And a quick guide, we usually say, because not everybody would have the time to stand up and look through everything. But if you see something like sodium, that is anything that is 5% or less, we will consider it low in that particular nutrient. Anything 20% or more, we consider that high in that particular something. So if you're looking for a food and you want it to be low in sodium, you will look for numbers like 5%, 4%, 3%. And things like the vitamins, the iron, and so you will look for higher numbers. Yeah. Because those are the ones you want to consume more of. Of course, again, paying attention to the serving size.
How can an individual understand labels? Because, I say that to say this word, you purchase, you go to the store, you purchase, now you go home. I guess you would want to encourage folks. Now we have the internet and everything available at your disposal easily. And you want to understand the label in terms of the particular contents of that particular product that you buy via the label. Mm-hmm. Or would you encourage folks to always do research on the contents itself?
Yes, you could do research, especially if you see something that you don't really understand.
Particular contents. Well,
yes.
I never know what this word means or whatever, and it's in that what I'm purchasing.
Yes, and then the ingredients list is very important as well. So you look at the ingredients. If you see a long list of ingredients, then you will tell yourself that particular item is highly processed. Yeah. The less ingredients that are in there is the less processed that particular thing could be. And the ingredients are listed from the most. That is in. So, for instance, you buy a cake. Mm-hmm. What's most in that cake will be listed first. Okay. Right. So, if you see sugar as the first thing, then you know that particular item that you purchase has more sugar than anything else in there. Right. So these are just some quick tips that you can.
I'm glad you're doing it because there's a particular drink that I purchase all the time, and for some reason I've never read the label before. And a couple of months ago, for some reason, I was reading the label and I said, I've been drinking this thing for a while and not noticing because of the flavoring. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you're not checking the percentage of sugar and stuff that's available within it. You understand? Sometimes you may not even be tasting the sugar, but for some reason, you have that particular product. I noticed after being consuming it for a while, mm-hmm. I realized the sugar content is even more. Is really, but I wasn't tasting the sugar for some reason.
Yes.
But somehow that made me have to drop it off because I said, well, this thing has a lot of sugar. And in drinking it on a regular basis, I wasn't tasting the sugar. It didn't taste sweet. For some reason, it was covered up. I don't know. But then I noticed that reading the label, and I watched the percentage in terms of sugar, and I said, me consuming this all the time, but the sugar percentage, I was looking at least 40% in that particular drink. That got me concerned a wee bit. And then knowing, the region in these chronic diseases around these days, the diabetes and so forth, you have to be concerned in relation to that.
Yes. Right. And that just goes to show that you can go off of taste.
Yes.
Because something might not be tasting salty, but there's a lot of salt in there. Yep. So the best thing to do is to read the food label.
So true. Because they put other ingredients in there that sort of covers it up. You understand?
Yes.
I mean, but then it's present somewhere or the other. All right. Now, the United Nutritional Council, of course, always have ways in terms of, educating consumers.
Yes.
And the general public. You have a special incentive coming up. Tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, so on the 7th of May, we're having our supermarket sweep.
Yeah.
Before the supermarket sweep, so I think it was last week, we had a supermarket tour.
Okay.
And during that tour, we educate persons on how to go about reading the food label. Oh. That was done at Calico Supermarket in Grenville. And from that tour, we got a couple names of persons that were interested in partaking in the sweep.
Okay.
So the tour is, the participants from the tour will be used to participate in what we're having, which is our supermarket sweep. So the supermarket sweep, it wouldn't be just persons coming to pick up items,
all right,
but we would have criteria in place. So, for instance, persons would have to pick up items that are healthy.
All right.
So they would have to now use what they learned from the supermarket tour for the supermarket sweep to go around and pick up items that are healthy, and at the end we pick out the one that has the healthiest basket.
All right. Tell us a little bit about the tour. What was the tour, the particular tour, the supermarket tour that you had? What was it entail really about? When you say you had that tour, was it folks just moving around the supermarket, checking labels, checking particular products, something of that nature?
Yes. So we were at the supermarket, and as persons come in to shop, once they have the time, we would have persons go around with them to different sections of the supermarket, looking at different food labels and showing them particular things on that food label that they should look for, especially in line with the supermarket sweep, so that when they come in for the sweep, they're not coming in with no knowledge of how to read the food label.
Okay. Now I see you have a what does it entail? Some names of individuals who will be making it to the sweep?
Yes. So I have here the names of the persons who are interested in the supermarket sweep. However, we will not be able to have everybody participate. Right. So we have to go down to 5 persons. Okay. So I will be dipping for the 5 lucky persons who will be able to participate in that supermarket sweep.
Okay, great. You want me to do the dipping for you? Yeah, connection they feel well, she's not picking my name, so they can't blame you on it, right?
Right.
So now we get the first name. First name. So let's see who's the first name. Who are we picking? The first person. All right. So we have Rosalind Thomas. Of Carrier.
Yes, Carrier.
So Rosalind, if you're listening or you're viewing, you will be part of the supermarket sweep coming up. So you say 5, right?
5.
I hope my name is in there. Let's get the second individual. If we get that person, we have Rikisha Francis. Rikisha Francis of Granlet. I hope I'm right. Yeah, Rikisha Francis of Grenada. So Rikisha, you'll be part, I guess you will be contacting them. And
yes,
them know
we will be contacting them.
All right. Let's get the third person will be making it to the supermarket sweep. So we have Kayla Phillip of Tivoli.
Okay.
Kayla Phillip of Tivoli. Kayla, good morning. You will certainly be making it to that supermarket sweep. All right, so let's get the next one.
2 more.
That's the 4th one coming up. Let's see if my name is in there or somebody I know. All right, so we have Roxanne. So we have Roxanne Thomas of the Blondo. All right.
Okay.
Roxanne. All right, and the final individual. Well, let me see if I can stir this up a little bit. Like somebody may call me and say, GT, why didn't you pick my name? But I can't. I don't have full knowledge of who is there. All right, so let me see this individual. So we have Wendy and Alexander of SAB.
All right,
so that's the fifth and final one we'll be making into the supermarket sweep. So you wanna let's reiterate what the sweep will be all about once again. What are folks supposed to do? I guess you will have a meeting with them and let them know exactly what they have to do. But maybe you could just mention it again before we take a wrap.
Okay, so it's a Mother's Day promotion.
Okay.
So
I'm assuming all of it will be picked. They were moms.
Moms,
right?
right?
Good.
So the supermarket sweep, like we said, is all about showcasing how to go about shopping the right way, right? Because we just pick up stuff and we put in a basket, but in the supermarket sweep, we'll be showing persons how to go about purchasing items. You pick up an item, you look at the label at the back, you compare different ones, and you choose the ones that are healthiest. Okay. And at the end of the supermarket sweep, we would be looking at the contents of their basket to see who picked up the healthy set of items. Of course, there will be a budget and criteria in place, such as picking up items that are low in a particular nutrient, like, for instance, low in sugar, low in sodium, low in saturated fat, things like that. So there will be
is there a time factor for them during the sweep? I mean, do you have 10 minutes, 15 minutes to do this, or there's a particular, or you could just go ahead and shop?
No, so there will be a time limit.
Okay.
And they will have to pick up items in that particular time. Okay. And of course, they will not be allowed to go over the budget.
Okay.
Right? Once you go over the budget.
So if you say you're shopping for $50, that's what we're shopping for, and you have a time limit to do that.
As close to the budget as possible.
Close to the budget, not over. Close to it, but not over.
Yes.
All right. Stephanie, I want to thank you once again for coming and sharing information, and I certainly hope folks who are listening to us this morning will pay attention to labels. It's important to pay attention to labels.
All right.
You know, sometimes we may like a particular product and we've, just for the taste of it, but not showing its contents may not be that healthy for you.
Yes.
You know. Thank you once. Anything in closing before we take a wrap?
Well, I would just like to encourage persons to tune in to Mikey Live. We will be broadcasting it live on that day.
That's the supermarket sweep. Okay.
Yes. So by doing that, they would also be able to go with some pointers as to what they should be doing when they go to shop.
All right. Thank you once again.
All right.
Hey, folks, that's how we take a wrap for this edition of the Mid-Morning Buzz here. All compliments of folks of the Food and Nutrition Council. Once again, join us again for another edition of the Mid-Morning Buzz. Stay with us. We're coming right back.
Get ready, Grenada. The Maggie King of the Grill is back and bigger than ever. On Saturday, June 7th, Monroe's playing field transforms into the ultimate battleground for grill masters. Think you got what it takes? Then fire up those grills and show your skills. Registration closes Friday, April the 11th. So don't miss your chance to compete for that sizzling prize and bragging rights. It's food, fun, and flavor, all powered by Maggie. To register, call 407-8458. Maggie King of the Grill, where flavor rules. See you there.
GBN presents the 2025 Maggie King of the Grill, Saturday, June 7th, Monrouge Plain Field from 11 a.m. Our partners, Maggie, the secret of great flavor, Grenada Distillers Limited, makers of Clark's Court, Grenada's #1 rum, Grenada Paper Products, makers of Cherish, Spring Soft, Harbour Bay, and Super Value Toilet Paper, and Royal, Quick and Easy, and Horizon Paper Towels, Budget Foods Inc., Classic Lighting, and Blue Bubbles PA Rental and Event Supplies. It's the 2025 Maggie King of the Grill, where flavor rules.
Hey GBN family, we've got a brand new home on Facebook and you need to be there. Follow us now on Facebook at Grenada Broadcasting Network -GBN. Stay updated with the latest news, sports, entertainment, and everything Grenada. Don't miss out. Like, follow, and share. Grenada Broadcasting Network. Stay informed, stay ahead. First with the news, fast with the updates.
Got something to share? Call us at 440-1252.
WhatsApp 405-3052 or 407-8458.
Or email gbnnews@gbn.gd.
GBN News, first, accurate, voted #1.
Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back, viewers, once again. Of course, it's a mid-morning buzz. We had a bit of a marathon this morning at the mid-morning buzz. Let me say good morning. She said I could call her Cami. Cami, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing this morning?
I am well. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Yeah,
doing
I'm happy
good.
it's
Doing good. Yeah. Thank God it's Friday.
Thank God it's Friday.
So Cami's here representing, of course, NEXA this morning. And, of course, we're talking about NEXA's, of course, promotion that is going on right now. It's called Gear Up and Go.
Yes.
Started about, what was it, a week or two ago?
Just the last week. So
Last week.
Saturday.
Share with us this particular promotion. Share some info.
All right, sure. So the promotion started last Saturday, the 26th, I believe. We had a DJ. We had some nice giveaways. It was at the Steels Commercial Complex in Grenada.
All right.
So that's where Scotiabank used to be, or opposite Food Fair, for those who are trying to remember where Steels Commercial Complex is.
Good direction there.
Right? Yes, I think so. Or by the traffic lights, right? So we do it. We've been doing it since Saturday, and tomorrow is the last day. So it goes up. It starts at 9 a.m. and then it ends at 2 o'clock p.m.
All right.
Right? So 9 to 2 every day. Tomorrow is the last day, right?
All right. So when you say gear up and go, define that for me just a wee bit.
Okay, but when you talk about gear, you talk about shifting gears.
Yes.
So if you shift your gears, then you go.
Some people do that via their feet,
well,
anyway.
Well, both of them, you shift your gears or you use your foot to do what you need to do with the gears. And then you go, right? In terms of the actual promotion, what it is that we've partnered with Steels Auto Supplies, right? So they're giving discounts on Jeep, Suzuki, Toyota, and Kia vehicles. Right. And the discounts are quite nice as well. And then, of course, with NEXA, we have exclusive discounts on interest rates, right? And then, so that's Steels, that's NEXA. We also have an insurance company down there. So we have represented Beacon Insurance, right? So it's kind of like a one-stop shop for all your needs.
And I guess you may have to be a member of NEXA.
Yes. So, yes, of course, one thing with NEXA is that because it's a credit union, it's membership-based. Okay. And you have to be a member to get those specific deals and stuff. But that's not to say that you can do it one time. So you can become a member on the same day that you apply for the loan. And the thing is, you just need to sign up within the loan promotion. So that doesn't mean that the loan went in. You could go tomorrow and sign up for it, June, and then, you could still access it after, once you sign up for the specific promotion.
All right. So even if the promotion runs out, you could still have access to those particular offers.
Once you sign up between that time.
Okay.
So before tomorrow at 2 p.m., go in, sign up, give your information, and of course you could be pre-approved at the same time as well.
Okay.
Right.
I mean, I guess all of the necessary information that is needed is available, and it's a go for you.
No, but you could be pre-approved and then bring in the required documentation.
Okay.
Right. So once you know exactly what it is, and then we could always say, all right, so you could potentially have this amount, and then maybe Monday you could bring in your relevant documents, and then we'll do everything.
And then
you
get that call.
Exactly. And we can make the appointment, so you could come in, just bring in your documents, and then you're good to go.
All right.
To gear up and go.
Gear up and go. Camille, anything else you want to let the listeners and viewers know about?
Sure. Let me just let you know that because Steels Auto is right there, you also have the ability to test drive the vehicles. Okay. You have the opportunity to sit in the vehicle, see how you feel in it.
How you look, take a selfie.
Exactly. How spacious it is for you. If you may have tools, because there are Jeeps there, there's SUVs, there's vans, there's trucks. Well, I don't know what
your
you
choice
call
and your interest.
Exactly. So what will happen is that a representative from Steels Auto will go through the vehicles with you, right? You'll get your nice choice, and then you'll go to the officer with the information pertaining to the vehicle that you like. They'll do whatever they need to do in terms of the documentation, what knowledge you have about your finances and so on. And then when you do that, then you could go by your insurance person and get, some knowledge about how much insurance you will actually have to pay regarding the vehicle, and then go back by the loan officer, and then
sounds like a really simple process.
Exactly. You don't have to go searching for information. It's right there.
Everything is right there for you, so you just go from one to the other, and once the approval comes around, you drive out.
Exactly.
So that's what it's called, gear up and go.
Gear up and go. And of course, just before I leave, I don't want to take too much time, just a quick reminder, the minimum requirements are 2 valid photo IDs. Remember, if you're getting a vehicle loan, you also have to get your license as well. So you have to show that you have your license, your proof of address, your payslip or job letter, confirmation of loans and deposits, invoice for the new vehicle, which you could get there at Steels as well, insurance quotation, which you could get there, and life insurance, of course.
That's it?
Yeah.
That's it?
Well, pretty much.
All right.
Right.
Camille, once again, Cami. Thank you once again. And that's what it's something on. Probably I'll come down there tomorrow. Right?
Yeah, you should.
I think I need something new to try.
Yeah, I think you should, man. So come down there. The discounts are quite nice, and it's a one-stop shop, really. Right? So we encourage you to come down. Remember, the last day is tomorrow, and it starts at 9 a.m. and it ends at 2 o'clock p.m.
All right, so you have adequate time to do whatever you need to do.
Yeah, and we have a little bit of steel pan music from NEXA New Dimension as well. So
encourage you to stick around.
Exactly.
Thanks once again, Kami, and best wishes for the, of course, hope everyone comes out and of course, make the event a success.
All right. Thank you very much for having
us. Hey, folks, let me wrap this edition of the Mid-Morning Bus. We do have another segment coming up. Stay with us. Don't touch it out.
Get ready, Grenada. The Maggie King of the Grill is back and bigger than ever. On Saturday, June 7th, Monroe's playing field transforms into the ultimate battleground for grill masters. Think you got what it takes? Then fire up those grills and show your skills. Registration closes Friday, April the 11th. So don't miss your chance to compete for that sizzling prize and bragging rights. It's food, fun, and flavor, all powered by Maggie. To register, call 407-8458. Maggie King of the Grill, where flavor rules. See you there.
GBN presents the 2025 Maggie King of the Grill, Saturday, June 7th, Monrouge Plainfield from 11 a.m. Our partners, Maggie, the secret of great flavor, Grenada Distillers Limited, makers of Clark's Court, Grenada's #1 rum, Grenada Paper Products, makers of Cherish, Spring Soft, Harbour Bay, and Super Value Toilet Paper, and Royal, Quick and Easy, and Horizon Paper Towels, Budget Foods Inc., Classic Lighting, and Blue Bubbles PA Rental and Event Supplies. It's the 2025 Maggie King of the Grill, where flavor rules.
Hey GBN family, we've got a brand new home on Facebook and you need to be there. Follow us now on Facebook at Grenada Broadcasting Network -GBN. Stay updated with the latest news, sports, entertainment, and everything Grenada. Don't miss out. Like, follow, and share. Grenada Broadcasting Network. Stay informed, stay ahead. First with the news, fast with the updates.
Welcome back once again, listeners. Welcome back, viewers. It's the Mid-Morning Buzz here on Classic Radio. We seem to have a bit of a marathon this morning in terms of, I guess, popping in. With us this morning, we have Inspector Ryan Smith with us this morning from the Traffic Department. Inspector Ryan, good morning and welcome. I think it's like your second time on the station for the day, right?
Yes. Pleasant morning to you, GT, and pleasant morning to the listening and viewing public.
All right. So in this segment, we're going to be talking briefly in relation to what we know on Saturday, which is tomorrow. Actually, we'll be having the launch of Spice Mass launch tomorrow. And more or less, there will be, of course, traffic arrangements that we would like folks to adhere to. Share those information with us.
Well, actually, the launch is today.
The launch is today?
Yes.
Was it?
The launch is today.
Today's Friday. I'm thinking it's Saturday, That holiday kind of threw me off.
Yes.
It kind of threw me off. The launch is today. So let's hear the traffic arrangement?
All right, so the following traffic arrangement will be in effect for the launch of Carnival at the Kirani James Athletic Stadium. That is on Friday, the 2nd of May, 2025. Now, all vehicular traffic entering the National Stadium will use the Queen's Park Ring Road from its intersection with Cherry Hill, Monkrush, or the Humbug Bridge. Now we will have some no entry signs. So the no entry signs, vehicular traffic will not be allowed in the following areas: Old Foot Public Road from its junction with Lucas Street, Cemetery Hill from its junction with Church Street, the Ring Road from its junction with Monkrush Public Road to the direction of the Humbug Bridge. The public parking areas, we have VIP, that will be the area normally used as the warm-up track, and behind the stage will host the VIP parking. The media and police officer will park in gate 6, that is the area behind the cricket stadium where the practice pitches are located. Parking for the general public will also be in gate 6 and the Wesley College ground. We also have some no parking zone: Melville Street from the Fish Market to Cherry Hill, Queen's Park Public Road from its junction with Greenbridge to the National Stadium, River Road from Early Apostle Lumber Yard to the roundabout close to Lockwell Brothers Crematorium, Monkrush Public Road from its junction with the Ring Road, and the National Stadium main entrance way from Greenbridge and the main entrance to the National Stadium. We'll also have an emergency route, and the emergency route for the National Stadium will be Queen's Park Public Road onto Cherry Hill and onto the Grenada Public Road. Persons will not be allowed to vend on the seaside of the main public road along the Western Main Road. So no vending will be allowed along the Queen's Park Public Road from Greenbridge to the main entrance of the National Stadium or any other area in the vicinity of the National Stadium.
All right. Tell me, of course, Inspector Ryan, what time does this arrangement kick into effect today? What time?
Well, first of all, the launch will start with a parade.
Yeah.
So the parade will be starting on Melville Street, that is in the area of the Republic Bank.
Yes.
Going through that back road, the back road by NIS, and ending out by the old Andal supermarket there.
Okay.
Supermarket there on up Melville Street. So once that is happening, all vehicular traffic wishing to enter the town of St. George's from the River Road or the western side will now have to go up Cemetery Hill, and enter in the town while the parade is coming along Melville Street. So the parade will start at 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock.
All right, the parade starts at 6 o'clock, and the event at the National Stadium itself will start at 7.
At 7. All right. So between 6 o'clock and 7, no one will use that particular roadway for.
Yes.
All right. Anything else before we take a wrap?
Yeah, well, I just want to encourage the general public to adhere to the traffic arrangements. The arrangements are there just for a short while, so we want them to really follow the instructions of the officers on the ground and during the launch.
Inspector Ryan, I want to thank you once again for sharing information this morning. Certainly hope all listeners and viewers were able to grab the information and make proper use of it in terms of the traffic arrangements that have been thrown out, and the no parking, of course, the parking and no parking areas.
Yes.
Of course, make use of that, and of course, just hope that we have a smooth flow of everything later on this evening.
Yeah, thank you very much.
All right. Hey, folks, that's where we take a wrap for this edition of the Mid-Morning Buzz here on Classic Radio, GBN TV. Have a good one, folks. That's where we say goodbye.